let's just bullcrap because we just, ever since we met, I am telling you, it's been nonstop conversation
Yeah,
straight
I'm
through.
going to have a sore throat tonight.
Yeah, not even once to be like hesitate and become quiet. It was just like back and forth going. Like, you know, he talked and I listened. I talked, he listened. It was just, it's very rare that you find somebody that you can just have a conversation about anything and be accepted for that conversation, no matter how weird it is.
Yeah, I know.
And
I get a
we
lot of people
just-
judge me, so
There's
yeah.
no reason for that whatsoever. And we have so many things that we both like that are so in common. It's unbelievable.
No, I mean it is good. I'll be real honest, and without getting into the TMI stuff, I've been in a dark place lately, and it is nice to have a friend.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's I mean the holidays
We'll bring
are bad
you.
anyway,
We'll
but yeah.
bring you to the light.
I mean, yeah, you know,
Oh.
I'm
So to get back, I'm so
no,
sorry.
that's all right.
So I interrupted him when he started talking about he somehow got into the studies of the occult and
Oh,
esoteric.
I was about the burning sword name.
Oh,
Was that
that's
yeah.
right. Okay.
But so
we
so I was
didn't
getting
do
into the so briefly the thing about is the supposedly there's some aspects of Mormon mythology that suggest that Noah became Gabriel. I don't know if that's true or not.
No.
The other thing was some of the Gnostic stuff is that there was an angel who was called Sabaoth, which is also one of Gabriel's titles. Sabaoth is a corruption of Sabaoth, which is Lord of Hosts. So it's to call someone Lord is Sabaoth. So he, or it, or whatever, corresponds in many ways to an archon, which is that Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, the anti-god, right, creates a little pocket false universe and then creates his own fake angels of the presence, which are the archons, the 7 demonic fake angels, one of whom broke rank, betrayed Yaldabaoth, and attempted to translate into the real, and may or may not be Gabriel, because there's a lot of stuff about how Gabriel seems to be and work. If you ever pray to and contact that one,
Now, are these the angels that are supposed to be imprisoned in ice now?
they're not. Nobody's in ice these days. Nobody's anything like that. Uriel was fallen. I don't know whether he still is. The Catholic Church officially considers it basically. Gabriel and Michael are the 2 of the 4 cardinals that haven't fallen, even though Raphael is mentioned in the Book of Tobit, and Uriel is not really Uriel or Oriel is not really mentioned in anything. And Uriel, honestly, in my mind, every time I've had any investigations or sense of or anything else, the dude has a trident. It reminds me of Poseidon. The thing is, a lot of the angelic, you call them personalities or whatever, the angelology of what people consider to be these messengers and archangels are, some of them are considered in some circles to be recycled old gods, old pagan gods that now work as angels, kind of thing, if that makes sense. I don't know whether I believe that, but it's what some of the mythologies believe to be. So Metatron, for example, is also said to be an incarnation of the Greek god Hermes.
Okay.
And that in most of the occult traditions, Hermes, Metatron, Thoth, from the Egyptian, he was the ibis-headed god of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that the entire Hermetic, you've heard people like Hermetic Kabbalah, stuff like that, that Metatron is Hermes, that these are just facets of the same entity. What that would mean is that Enoch was a human incarnation of something combined into this god Hermes, or whatever, if that was the case, who is then now highest angel.
Well, see, now that
kind of thing, you know. But like I said, this is ancient scrolls kind of stuff. This is modern speculation kind of stuff. Some of it is based on my own personal experience with attempts to summon too.
That's scary.
It can be. I stopped doing that.
That's a good thing.
I stopped doing that.
You want to curse on your life? Go ahead and summon some.
Well, what were we talking about earlier? So
don't speak to the angels. Speak to God.
So basically, coming to it, I figured out that Metatron's name had been spelled incorrectly. Part of it is like, you watch Supernatural, the TV show, and they use all that Enochian magic. Enochian is based off the name Enoch, right? But the Enochian system is not the same as the language. The language is not Enochian, it's called Ophanim. And it is said to be the language of the wheel angels from Ezekiel's chariot. However, the language itself was developed or discovered, or however you want to look at it, by a guy named John Dee in like 1500. And he was like a court magician. Not really sure. I've tried doing an incomplete activation of the Enochian keys when I was into my magic studies, and it really hosed me because I did not complete it, and they said there are negative consequences if you don't, and I didn't. But they are not, the Enochian spirits are not the same as angels, for sure. They're also not the same as demons, for sure. And not related to Metatron, for sure. So getting to the point of it, Metatron could be mistaken for God by his dazzling presence, however. Metatron and Sandalphon could also be mistaken for each other as twin brothers, except that Sandalphon does not have the same kind of presence as Metatron. Sandalphon, however, is said to be the tallest angel, period. He is almost as big as God. Sandalphon was said to have been Elijah in his lifetime. So when the fiery chariot picked him up and Elisha took over the mantle and everything, I don't know if you read through that stuff, the 2nd Kings, reads to me kind of almost like a comic book. They're being chased by a mob of people trying to kill the prophets, and Elijah pulls off his wool coat mantle, rolls it up, beats the beach along the river, and shouts something about, if there's a God in heaven, split this water, or something about as Moses did or something, and then the water parted, and he parted like 3 rivers for him and Elisha to get away from the mob before he said, okay, the power's run out and whatever, it's time for me to be done, you're going to take over.
I'll have to reread that story because I don't remember it all completely.
Yeah. Elijah takes his mantle and he strikes the ground and splits. He parts water Moses style. He uses basically every trick in the book to get away from a mob before handing the mantle off to Elisha, and then a fiery chariot comes down and takes him up, and then he's translated into an angel himself. That's the story. And then later on, the other medieval esoteric stuff suggests that Sandalphon was in fact Elijah. So then you have Enoch and Elijah as the two, basically, the way I've seen it and the way it actually seems to work for effective communication. If you want to get something straight to God, you pray to Sandalphon, and then you wait for Metatron to bring the answer. One is in, one is out.
Pray to God.
Pray to God's all fine and good if God can understand or hear what you're saying. But me personally, I'm outside.
When you speak in tongues, the Holy Spirit will translate it.
Personally, outside of God's hearing range.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
God created you. He's inside of you. He knows everything you say and think.
When I've had to
at all times
pray seriously and have been able to get anything of a miracle or a response or anything to do with it, it has only been through the process of Sandalphon, please tell God this. And then waiting to feel like, okay, Metatron's presence, what is the answer? They are the send and receive because God cannot directly communicate like that. That's what I
don't pray to any angel.
So here's the thing. Sandalphon, I don't know. There's other stories that claim that he predates the universe or whatever. Geez, I don't know. Metatron's name is misspelled in most places. It's like on the Enochian language on Supernatural, like I was mentioning. The angel magic they do, if you translate the Enochian letters, it's just a bunch of dirty jokes and not magic at all because they couldn't use real magic on the TV show because people would be repeating actual incantations that actually work. And I learned this through my own experiences before coming onto that, coming into seeing that show. But okay, so the thing with Metatron is, I found a spelling of the name in Hebrew that works for, being able to attempt to catch the presence or communicate or whatever. That the stories in the Book of Enoch refer to it as the name of Metatron contains they call him the lesser tetragrammaton or the lesser Yod He Vav He, right? And that Metatron's name in Hebrew numbers to 314, which is pi, which is a circle, and contains an aspect of the name of God within. So they spell it Mem, Yod, Tau, Tau, Resh, Vav, Nun. That's a princess. Princess. Baba.
She's just talking away. She's Baba. I want to be involved.
Mem, Hey, Yod, Hey, Dalet, Resh, Nun. Is how I spell it.
Okay, so it's not another joke.
Nope. Okay. Mem, Hey, Yod, Hey, Dalet, Resh, Nun. I just want to make
sure nothing else goes over my head.
It numerically comes to the same as 314, which Metatron is said to be the angel of the circle, and that they talk about the secrets of the circle are within. Well, 3.14 is the ratio of a circumference of a circle to its radius.
There's a circle maker in the Bible.
Yes. So there's a lot of...
And he prayed for the rain.
And so what I'm saying is that the Metatron is inherent to that in a way. So, and then when you draw things like Metatron's cube, it's a bunch of sacred geometry, circular symmetry, stuff like that, right? So the thing is that it can be phonetically similar. It's Mahia-Duran,
Okay.
but it contains a hey yod hey, which is the closest thing in any possible spelling that you can get to the pronunciation of the Metatron, because meta is a Greek word, as is Tron. But if it's a Hebrew angel, you're not going to do his name in Greek.
That's true.
So it's something else that comes through to this that equivalates numerically. It's kind of in a sense of like tolerance in like what the Masonic sense of things, that not to tolerate, but tolerance is in it fits through the opening.
Okay.
A within tolerance name of Metatron that contains an aspect of name of God that I've actually used with great success. But you can't ask him for anything. You can say, is there a message from God for me? That's it. Because Metatron is the scribe of God. That's what the book of Enoch says, is that Metatron's job became to anything that God's will spoke. Metatron wrote it down, sent it to other angels to send the message on. So it would make sense that Metatron is the one who brings answers or responses. And Sandalphon being the one to send them up to would be because, number one, he's the tallest, which is kind of goofy, but that's how it goes. Number two, probably the one prophet in the Bible who spoke directly of or to God the most was Elijah. He would flat out, if there's a God in heaven, you stop this right now, and the lightning strikes it, or whatever, you know.
The two messengers that's coming in Revelations.
Could be them. Could very well be them. Enoch and Elijah.
So
and
that's
Ezekiel might be in the Ezekiel and Ezra. It's prophets.
Well, I was thinking that it would be those two.
But Enoch and Elijah for sure. It could be Daniel. It could be any of them.
We don't know for sure, and nobody knows who exactly the two messengers are. And believe me, fire coming out of their mouths.
Metatron and Sandalphon are described as being fiery angels.
Yeah, and they said the entire world will hear their message. Now think about nowadays with the computers and the TVs and the radio and.
Well,
can you imagine anything they say? Every media station in the world would be there.
Metatron is also called the father of the electron.
Really?
And the electron is literally all we're touching when we're touching physical matter because of the way that
energy.
Atoms work.
Right.
And so there's an innate. It makes sense to me, pseudoscientifically, mythologically, or however, to think of it as you have this. World without end means the end is the beginning is the end too, right? And the old symbol of the Ouroboros of the endless life and whatever is the snake eating its own tail or whatever. But so the idea that Metatron, whose name contains pi, refers to a circular symmetry, sacred geometry thing, which can be used to create magic circles and such. That would be the fiery angel of one of the messengers or whatever that is the scribe that, so all to me it makes sense to say, well, I see where that pillar holds the roof up. Doesn't mean I'm going to examine the pillar or cut the pillar open to find out what's in it or try and make my own pillar. But, it's kind of one of the, that's how I look at it with something like Metatron, is that there's, the actuality of an entity like that is so much bigger than any person's lifetime's concerns, that there's only so much that they can really do to help us with our lives, because there is other like cosmic wheel turning stuff that they're concerned with as well. But like I said, for me, it makes sense that with the all of the descriptions of Metatron and everything else of it, that, like I said, for him to be the response, to be the earpiece and for the mouthpiece of the phone to God, as it were. Because, there's lots of people that claim that they pray to, and I don't mean to be, if you pray to or whatever, straight to God or however, it's like
I don't take no offense. I pray my way, you pray your way.
Never in my entire life have I had a single instance of a successful, dear God,
I have.
I need this. And I'm not talking things, I'm just talking like, save my parents.
I've had true miracles.
Save my marriage. Nope. Save my cat. Nope. Save my friends. Nope. Save the world. Nope. But on the things where I have construct a magic circle and a ritual, perform it on the proper moon cycles using the lesser ritual of the pentagram to, invoke Sandalphon to collect a message and send it upward. And then days later, about 3 days after, open the circle again and wait for a response from Metatron is the only time that I've had any success getting through to the Almighty and having a prayer answered. But I've literally gotten the opposite of what I've prayed for every time otherwise.
When you perform magic, though, the spirits can
Oh, I know. There's all kinds of danger and
do
terribility
all
to it,
kinds of
and
stuff. Look what happened to
would
Howard
be
Hughes. I mean,
would
think
be
about it.
amazing if the all-powerful creator of the universe was able to make it work right, as far as I'm concerned, right? But it doesn't. It doesn't. And as far as the ability to use intention for things like manifestation, whatever else is, I've had to find hacks and workarounds because that doesn't work either. So, like I said, opposites every single time. And even if it's a flat out
I
Lord's
believe
Prayer,
in
you know.
intentions.
So the thing is for me, yeah, for a long time there, I got into magic because I saw other people that were like, well, just pray to God, just pray to God. I'm like, I tried that, it doesn't work.
No,
It doesn't work, and
works.
there's no valuable lesson being taught in my life at that time. So really isn't. I just kind of think like maybe there's a bad connection here that nobody's aware of. It was like when my power problems last winter happened, and I called the utility company, and they said, well, according to our telemetry, your smart meter is working fine. I'm like, lady, I'm watching the lights blink right now. Have you considered the possibility that your meter's not working right? Well, people saying, pray to God, it works fine for me is like saying, well, our telemetry says that your meter works just fine. Whereas I'm saying the only way that I get anything through to God, that I get a response back that isn't, go F yourself, Rob, is Metatron and Sandalphon. And only for things that are not for me, but for others, and only on things that are not vain pursuits. And outside of that, no, it's 100% on my own in this world. There is no divine intervention or protection. I haven't had any experience like that since I was 17. My first car accident, when a big glowing sphere basically surrounded the car I was in, so I didn't die. And after that, no, there's very few things of any actual
That's
miraculousness.
a pretty huge miracle
I had
there, pal.
no, I had the time.
Serious.
I had a time that I had some friends over, and this is going to go into the deep end of things, but I had basically had a bunch of friends over. We were smoking a bunch of weed. I'd put some mead, which is honey wine, in the bong, and we smoked through some really potent stuff. Probably a good quarter's worth that night. We went hard.
I know what mead is.
And so then
It's a
after it
honey
was all
liqueur.
done, I took the bong, removed the bowl, poured the mead back out that we'd smoked through, filtered it, and drank it. I was physically bowled over by a wave in my room. Into the water world. I'm like floating. And an energetic and fiery angelic presence approached me. And I flinched, and it vanished. And after that, shit went downhill pretty quick in my life. Not gonna lie. So, like I said, I'm all about the study of it, and I get into it and the wisdom of it and things, and I can explain things or whatever, but I'm not saying that prayer doesn't work, because for lots of people it does, but for me it honestly works in the opposite.
Well, in your
Which is
search
why-
for knowledge,
why I
don't
had to
let
get
the
into-
ears be too itchy.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because I've studied a lot of this same stuff that he studied, and during that time, my life really went to crap.
No, and I've stopped on pretty much any ceremonial magic. Occasionally I'll pull something out, but I don't cast spells. I don't incant. I don't summon. What I do is construct a magic circle, banish negative energies and anything unholy from within it, and I open a window, and I just watch through the window for a minute, and I close it. I don't. It's the same thing as when I do tarot. I don't ask questions. I don't look to the future. I don't accept a single prediction. What I do is I take a current moment snapshot of the ethereal around using it, which incidentally, it's probably something I should do sometime here soon, because I haven't for almost a
So
year.
can you
but
see people's auras too?
sometimes my ex-wife was very synesthetic and could see a lot of that stuff.
I can see yours.
I have.
People look at me like I'm weird. It's really weird.
Would you tell me what color I'm going right now?
Right now, you're clear.
Clear.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
You're very clear, but I can
That-
actually see an outline the
there's-
entire way around you.
I think that would be like octarine or something, but the what they call crystal.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so I transitioned through a lot of that stuff. My wife could see that back in the day. But like, okay, so what was I saying?
See, now, I look as that as some kind of gift from God, because when certain preachers talk,
You can tell.
I can
something's-
actually see like a beaming light coming out of them, and people are like, "What are you talking about?"
a lot of folks can
It's
see
like
that.
their whole body lights up, I've actually had this happen
Lots
to
of
me.
folks can see that. Yeah.
I am dead serious, and when I say I see that, and other people are looking at me like you're nuts. No, I don't know if God opened my eyes to something because it
Well,
really does.
spiritual gifts, is that in First or Second Corinthians that they're listed? And there's a whole bunch of stuff
Yes.
like that. My ex could see this kind of stuff too, and she proved it to me to the point that she said, "Okay." I said, "What color are you?" And she looks over my shoulder and says, "Oh, you're like blue." And I'm like, "Okay." And I focus, and in my mind, I see some color switch between yellow and green. And she goes, "Okay, now you're going yellow to green." All right, that's real.
But the yellow to green,
I was
when you put
thinking
them
it.
together, turns into blue.
Well, yellow and blue turns into green, but no, I was just
Oh
it was a
yeah,
blue
you're
aura,
right.
and I was like, okay, flick yellow to green, like in my head. And so I was like, yellow, green. She goes, yellow and green. And I was like, red, 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 red. I wasn't saying it. I was just focusing and trying to get my mind to visualize the colors,
Right.
which is really hard when you're trying to do that. It's one of those things where you hear people talk about in a guided meditation or the blue healing light and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I need the blue healing light or to give it to someone else, I cannot see the color blue in my mind.
Wow.
So this ties into the issues I have with prayer, with getting any prayers answered, with any kind of manifestation or intention. I've had to find hacks and ways around.
My prayers are
If I'm
answered.
going to be permanently locked
If I
in,
say I'm praying
if
for
I'm
you, I
if
am
I'm
a
going to
very
be
good prayer.
permanently locked in repel mode, I'm going to figure out how to opposite day the universe into giving me what I want anyway. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so okay, they're going to give me the opposite of, oh God, the one thing I could not stand. If I say I hate nothing more, it's success in my life. Nothing would anger me more than having enough money to get by. Let me tell you, I just would go off, right? Form that intention so that the universe can be like, oh, he doesn't want to have money. He doesn't want to be successful.
Let's give him some.
Let's screw that guy over, because that's how it works, man. That is how it works. So yeah, no, that is why I had to get.
I do
And so
believe.
so I get what you're saying about when it comes to praying. By all means, you know what, guys, you're watching this. You're watching this. If you pray, if that's your thing, and you can pray to God, and you can say, "Hey, man, I need help. Can you, And yeah, the Lord will provide. When I stop praying, when I just let it all go, is when the providing begins. But when I'm like, can I please?
Well, after you pray, you do let it go because
But
it's
but
left in God's hands.
but either way, on any of it, no, not it. If I completely stop trying, then the providing comes, right? But it's very minimal. It's very, you'll have enough food to survive. Can't say nothing about whether your truck will run or your house won't leak or your cats, but, so I mean, technically provide. But like I said, it's like, it's very confusing because people would consider it a blasphemy or a heresy to suggest that the Almighty is having an issue with quality control. You know, people do not appreciate this as a conversation point. However, I am living proof. The only other explanation for the way that things go in my life is something I've never spoken of very openly on videos, and that would be Lamed Vow. Do you know what that means?
No.
Lamed Vow Sadikim. Sadikim is a Hebrew word meaning saints,
Okay.
or the holy ones. Lamed Vow means 36. Lamed is 6, and Vow is... No, Lamed is 30, and Vow is 6.
Okay.
36 times 26, which is God's number, which is the gematria of the Tetragrammaton. You got 10, 5, 6, and 5.
Okay.
26. So that's why when the number 26 is a holy number for a lot of people, because Yod He Vav He adds up to 26.
Okay.
26 times 36 is 936. 900, the Hebrew letter that corresponds for 900 is Sadi. Sadi Lamed Vow is 936. Lamed Vow Tzadikim means the 36 saints. This is a story of, I believe there are 936, not just 36, but they are people whose nature of existence is to be a focal point of long suffering for the purpose of holding up reality. I don't know if this is me or not, but there's a lot of this life of long suffering that I have, and as I've described it, the issues I have praying of getting any positive response from anything, in that nature. It's not that I don't believe, it's not that anything else, it's just that for me, it does not work, or if it does, it works in the opposite. And honestly, the magic that I've been able to get to work never works for selfish uses. It only works for trying to help others. It's the weirdest thing. So, by all definitions I can see, that something like that is a possibility as to why that nothing works right for me when it comes to it. Why I'm stuck here. You know, I've got the house. I had to lose everything to get it, and we talked about the work situation issues and things like that. How intensely difficult it is for me to find employment, to keep employment, to ever be able to get by, and the idea that people talk about, like, oh, you know, the American dream and richness in life. No, I've already accepted it's about 5 years ago, I accepted the reality that no matter what I do, there will be an obstruction. It will simply happen. Like I was saying about, it was like they found out where I worked, kind of thing. And the orders reduced. The tips that were coming through reduced. The number of tips coming through reduced. Just. So it's like, you know, I don't fully understand it. I think that people don't fully understand the concept of God or whatever else is going on too. That there's got to be stuff happening in this world that even the most knowledgeable, spiritual, awakened or whatever won't understand, you know. And I think I might be part of that because I don't understand it myself. But yeah, I can try and explain it. And most of the time when I go to get to that explanation, it gets into a pathological disbelief. Automatic, nope, not possible. That's not a thing. And it's a possible explanation because the only other thing is that I am for some reason cursed. That it's, if it isn't God messing with me, it's the devil, almost for sure. And I consider that out of like Book of Job kind of stuff, you know, that
You're having spiritual attacks.
that well, not just spiritual attacks, but the whole thing with the story of the Book of Job is that Lucifer's punk ass comes up to God and says, "Hey, let's have a bet." And God says, "Oh my God, really? Okay, fine." And the bet is that I'm going to find your most devout, selfless,